Hi, Cold Warrior 78 here again. We're back on the homestead here. At the moment, it's the 28th of December, 2020. A lot of stuff going on in the world, but at the moment, my issue is with the chicken watering barrel that I showed you guys in an earlier video. Let me show you what's going on. So, as you can see in front of you, this is the rain barrel that I set up for the chickens, and as you go down you will notice that not only have we slid forward down here, but the top's a lot closer than it used to be. Moving this, you may get a better perspective. What has happened is the chickens have knocked this watering pipe out probably 6 times this year, so that's 300 gallons of water that just dumped on the ground. My guess is it soaked the ground enough that my supports sunk into the ground, but we're going to dig it up and find out, so stand by. So for those of you who haven't seen the chicken video, the chicken waterer video, let me introduce you to the pieces of it again so we know what we're talking about here. So I'm going to swing this around, try to do it kind of gently so nobody gets vertigo. So we have the chicken coop, here's the roof, put a gutter on the back. This is where a downspout would normally be. The downspout connects to, try not to move this too fast, to this arrangement. Okay, it's a 2-inch pipe, 3-inch bell out on top, fits down into the bung here on top of the lid. It just fits in like that. Whoops, like that. All right, and there's usually a screen in here. I just dropped that on the ground somewhere. I'll go find it. And then up on top, you may see a bunch of leaves, but there's this, I don't know if you can see that, this kind of screen, spongy looking thing in here. It's one of these leaf guard, gutter guard things. The idea is that the leaves stay on top, they get washed off, and just clean water comes through. With the screen in here, generally speaking, the water inside is fairly clean. This is the inside of the barrel. I don't know if you can see other than just blue, but the blue blocks algae formation. So you can see there's a little bit of stuff down there at the bottom, which is below the way down here. That is a fitting that you put through the wall. All right, so that's how the water gets out to the chickens. I've got a second one up here as an overflow. It's a bulkhead fitting. Get them at Home Depot. No, I'm sorry, Tractor Supply, not Home Depot. Home Depot, I think, the first clue what those things are. But as you can see, okay, there's a little bit of sediment at the bottom, but by and large, that's a fairly clean barrel. So at least as far as the chickens go, this first flush crap is really unnecessary. So stand by. All right, and on this side, again, this is the overflow, just some flexible black tubing, goes down to the ground, under the ground, out through the wall. I'm in the process of building another retaining wall because the first one that I did down here was built about 5 years ago with 15-year-old landscaping timbers. If you recall from the other video, this entire project was done with zero cost from stuff that was just laying around the homestead. So from that standpoint, it was a complete success, but you always have to do a little bit of work. Here's a little bit of picture of the plumbing here in the front. Really pretty simple, just some PVC pipe and a valve. I'm going to take that out and reset this whole thing, so stand by. Alright, so here's a shot of the bottom. Let me show the better look here. So this is the support. Landscaping timbers, I got a pair here to support the thing. And then the box, these posts, and then a layer all the way across here on the top. Alright, so the stuff up here is still in pretty good shape. But we're starting to get some rot down in here. So I'm glad I had to fix this anyway, because I'm going to have to deal with that. But the real problem is right down there. Let me pan down so you can see. Don't know if you can see it real well or not, but this hole right here was deep enough that not only was the whole pair of landscaping timbers here in the front down in the dirt, but actually the cross piece was down in the dirt. So that had sunk the height of your landscaping timbers, which is about 3-ish, 2.5-ish inches, depending on the timber. And then into the other, so you're talking a total of about 4 inches down. So that's going to require a more substantial foundation than we put on it initially. And again, it's not not as much because of the issue with the timbers, although that's not unexpected, because again, those are also 15-year-old timbers when I built it. This is all fill, so it's all real soft. I tried to pack it down as much as I could, but when you start dumping hundreds of gallons of water in here over the course of a summer, the whole thing got just too soft and it sunk. And of course, because it didn't sink uniformly, it leaned. So that's what we're going to fix. Alrighty, so what we're going to do is try to pull the lag bolts off of this and pull those off, see if the stuff above it is solid enough. Kind of iffy on that. So we'll probably have to rebuild this whole bottom part of the platform, and then we'll have to lay out some concrete down here to make a better footer system. So I'm going to leave the camera running. I'm going to try to fast forward this thing. If I'm not smart enough to figure out how to fast forward it so you don't have to put up with every little second of what I'm doing, I may edit some of this crap out, but here we go. This is the driver impactor, Milwaukee. Impactors are great if you don't know how to use them. That's a video for another time. But don't do this with a regular screwdriver, drill driver. Got to be an impactor, and it ought to be one of the higher end impactors with the metal front. hang on. So as you saw, we had 2 landscaping timbers on each side. One of them still stuck there. 2 5-inch lag bolts holding each one of them in. I've got one of them stuck, it's just rotating. Got to get a pry bar for that. Be back in a second. Stand by. Alrighty, we're back. My crowbar of choice is this ancient I-bar styled. I think it was made by Estwing, the guys that make those blue tools. I have used this thing for pretty much everything. It's indestructible, and I have had this since the 1970s. Okay. That's kind of weird. I wonder if maybe I broke that off. Oh, there we go. There's a problem. It broke. Well, let's see. What can we do about that? And by the way, it's okay to make your tools muddy as long as you clean them off. If your tools don't get dirty, you're not using them. Pick all these up. Alrighty, so let's zoom in on that so you can see what's going on there. Alrighty, right. Get my big old finger back in here. There. That's the piece of the broken lag bolt. I got to get some pliers to get that out, so stand by. I'll leave it zoomed in there. There we go. So you just have to apply enough pressure to get the screw out the hard way. Nope, not yet. All right, there we go. By the way, where are we here? These, that's too close. These are a pair of old Craftsman. Back when every year Craftsman was coming out with, hey, we have a better idea. And they're kind of a slip joint plier, not quite vice grippy kind of thing. See? When I first got them, I thought it had all kinds of wonderful opportunities to use them. After I used them a little while, I wasn't real happy with them, so they sat for a couple of years. And then I started using them again, and boy, they're really handy. Those these sharp teeth up here really grab hold of things like lag bolts and crap that doesn't want to come out. So sometimes you just got to have the right tool. Okay, stand by. We're going to get in close. Alrighty, so trying to stay on the tripod here so we're not bouncing too much. So we have the landscaping timber on this side. Let's see if I can get in a little bit tighter on that. Yeah, right in here, that's some sort of mushroom growing there. There's a little bit of rot on that end. You can see now that's just on the post. That's just dirt. On this end, a little bit of rot on the horizontal, so that's going to have to come off. But again, the posts are surprisingly in good shape. So we're going to look at that. Stand by. Alrighty, so we're back again. This is a close-up of the one of the posts, and that's the horizontal that the actual base was hooked to. There actually is a little bit of rot going on in here, so I'm just going to replace those, and I'm going to replace the posts as well. Let me come back out of this a little bit so you can see. So what we're talking about is we're going to replace the two vertical posts on this side as well as the two vertical posts on that side, and then the deck itself is in good shape, so we'll get these things pulled off. We'll see where we go from there. So again, I'll let this run. I'll see if we can fast forward a little bit. Otherwise, go ahead and skip ahead. So there's two uprights. You can see a little bit more rot going here. That's the part that was being shoved down in the ground by this got to get that off. did here was I anchored the come on, get out. Sorry, let me move this out of the way. I'll show you what I'm talking about. See if we can zoom in on that a little bit. So what we're looking at here, let me get here a little sun. That is a steel strap that's used to just simply connect things. And I nailed it in here just to hold the pipe so it wouldn't wander off on me. And unfortunately, because it's nailed and not screwed, I'm going to have to pry it out, but I need to go get a hammer, so I'll be right back. Now, even though that S-Twing is my favorite pry bar, it's by far not my only pry bar. This piece here is not actually a pry bar, it's a nail puller called a cat's claw, and it's designed to dig nails out of wood. Now, I've got that metal strap there, don't know how well this is going to work, so we're going to go see. Sorry about that. Let's get zoomed back in again. See how this works. So you see this, the sharp teeth here grabs the nail. In that case, just pull the nail head off. Here's the strap coming loose. I got my drain pipe out of the way now. Broke the other nail head off. That happens a lot. There we go. So we have this off. I'll put that back on when I rebuild this thing. And now I can continue to take this apart without being in the way, without my overflow being in the way or being damaged, because then I'd have to replace that. And that's just more work. Actually, I'm just going to move this whole thing over there. Probably not going to be able to reuse that one, it's bent. Alrighty. Here's a good example of what I was talking about earlier. It's alright, let me get back around here. Probably have to come back out of the camera a little bit. There we go. Alright, so what you can see is this part of the wood is still good. When you ever see this like bleached out part, it's because it's starting to go bad. I hit that with the crowbar a little while ago. That feels like cork. Cork is not very strong. All right. So whenever your wood changes color, indicative that you're having a problem. Now on this end, this is just dirt. This is all hard, which is why initially I thought, oh, this will be all right. See, you can kind of hear that, but you can see it sounds different. It picks at it. It's no good. Now the platform that held up the drum itself is still in great shape. So we're not going to do anything with that. What I'm going to do is build a new foundation for this thing. So stand by. Alrighty, so foundations. Foundations typically require concrete of some sort. The foundation I did on the original piece was pressure treated lumber, and surprisingly enough the foundation pieces were still intact, but they didn't provide enough of a bearing surface. These are concrete blocks. About 4 inches thick. Sometimes uses cap block or half blocks on a basement wall. Now, why concrete? It doesn't rot, it'll be there forever, and it provides a bigger bearing surface. There's actually another big piece underneath there. So it's a wider space. If you're pushing down in, say, the size of your fist down on the ground, you'll reach a certain amount of resistance. But if you have your hand spread out, you meet more resistance. So what you're trying to do is spread the load out over a bigger area. All right? The other thing I want to say about these is I got these from a friend about 5 years ago. He was done with the project, had a couple extra, I didn't know what to do with them. I said I'd take them. They've been sitting in a pile on the other side of the house for almost 5 years now. If you're going to do this kind of thing and not go broke doing it, you're going to have a pile of materials so that you can do it. If you got to go out and buy, I don't have even any idea how much these things are, probably $2 or $3 a piece. I've got these, I got 5 or 6 more, plus I've got some full-size ones in that pile. Stand by. Oh, hush, chicken, for goodness sakes. I have a chicken very proud of the fact she laid an egg. All right, go on. There's another piece of the foundation landscaping timbers that I put down here. See if I can get that up out of the ground for you. It actually goes a little bit farther that way. Get a little bit of shot of that. So you can see this piece of landscaping timber was down in here. That is an old retaining wall. In case you don't notice, I live on a heck of a hill. And so there are multiple retaining walls here to try to hold the dirt back and create a bit of land, flat land, or reasonably flat anyway. And so that's the top of an old retaining wall. So I have to cut that out. Broke it on that end, so I cut it out on this end, pull that out. I'll put the cement down underneath that. So stand by. Well, back in. So cutting that wood. This is my root cutting axe. This is an old Collins Handy, I think they call it. Collins Old Timer. This is the first axe I ever chopped a tree down with when I was younger. Big broad head, as you can see. It's a heavy son of a gun. Probably dates from the 40s, my guess. You can see all the goofy things my uncles did here to hold the head on. It's also a little, I don't know if you can see around here. They used it for, they didn't want to buy them all, so they would try to split wood with this and a sledgehammer, and they beat up the back of this thing a little bit. But it's my root cutting axe because it's a heavy son of a gun. I would hate to try to cut a tree down with this thing nowadays because to try to swing this in any sort of horizontal position just ain't gonna make it. But coming down, oh yeah, that weight is really handy. So stand by and we'll see how to put this to work. Alrighty. Got to get stable place with your feet. Figure out where you're going to hit. Try not to hit that on the way down. Yep, don't hit that either. Well, that part of it came out. Oh, look at that, there's an old iron. Oh, not quite. Not quite cut through. Try not to hit that. Broke some more off of this. Almost through. Not quite. And there we go. So, heavy axe comes through in the end. Let me zoom in here, see if you can see something. Right down. Yeah, it's kind of in the shade. Don't know if you can see right over, put my finger here, right there. It's an old piece of rebar. Goes down to the rest of the part of that retaining wall. That's going to be in a way, but if the rest of this is as rotted as I think it is from being underground for 10 years or more, there we go. I got a piece of rebar. Reuse everything you can. All right, let's zoom back out again so we can see a little bit more about what's going on. There we go. Come up a little bit. Come back out a little bit. All right. So what we're trying to do here is level off the ground right in this square so we can put the concrete down. Now we got something else. Just some compacted dirt. See, there's a concept. Alrighty, let's see how the concrete goes in there. Okay. We'll level these in a minute.